welcome to another Football Manager 2016 experiment with me, James, from the Football Manager WizKids. Now, in real life, we're halfway through the Premier League season, so 19 games gone, and Leicester currently sit joint top with Arsenal on 39 points and are currently the joint top goal scorers in the Premier League. Now granted, every team can have some success during a season, but not every team can sustain that throughout an entire season. So I want to do a Football Manager 2016 experiment where Leicester have already finished in the top 4 of the season and therefore go into the group stage of the Champions League and see how they get on. Now there are a few things that have been edited here to make this sort of more realistic, I guess, if you wish. Now, they've been placed in the Champions League in place of Chelsea, of course, who have been struggling this season and seen Jose Mourinho sacked. Well, I've made Leicester a little bit richer. I've put £150 million in their bank balance, and I've given them a £100 million transfer budget and a £150,000 wage budget to try and attract top players from all around Europe. I've also edited a few other things, but we'll get into that shortly. But first we're going to get a look at the squad and see what it's like and see if they have any players you believe, and I believe, that are capable of performing in the Champions League and that they may keep, and that the manager Claudio Ranieri may look to take with him into the battle of the Champions League group of death, what I see Leicester more than likely ending up in. So looking at Ranieri's squad that he has at his disposal, he has quite a wealth of experience in there. Players that have played in European campaigns before and played at top standard football throughout their career. They've got some decent middle-aged players as well, but there's no players that are really young and looking to burst into this scene. So we'll look at a few of those and we'll see who could be key men in the UEFA Champions League campaign, and the first one for Leicester City Football Club. For me, one of the better players in this Leicester team, and he has 162 appearances to his name for the club, is Kasper Schmeichel, of course the son of the great Peter Schmeichel. Now he is the number 1 at Leicester and he's got really good attributes that could make him play for a top club. Mark Schwarzer, of course, the experienced Australian, will be his backup in this quick Football Manager experiment that we're going to do. With 144 appearances racked up at Leicester City, the 31-year-old Jamaican with 21 international caps, Wes Morgan, the number 5, you may think, well, he might not be cut out for this, but his experience, his leadership and determination qualities, and he is the actual captain of the Foxes, he could be a key and pivotal player, whether it be on the field or in and around the dressing room. Another one that could play a pivotal part in this is the left-back Christian Fuchs, who has 99 appearances previously at Schalke. He is a really experienced player. He's a 29-year-old Austrian who's got 67 caps for his country. He is a very good player, and really he has the attributes to play at a much higher club than you'd expect Leicester to be. Now, saying that, obviously Leicester are joint top of the Premier League, so can they get much higher than that at all? Well, not really if you look at it, and it's another debate for another day that the Premier League is the best league in the world. Now, if you're sitting joint top of it, is there really any higher standard? Yes, in terms of club stature, but in terms of club position and what league you're playing in, possibly not. A player that struggled to fit into Leicester's system this season, who was supposed to replace the outgoing Esteban Cambiaso, is the 31-year-old Swiss international, 77 caps and 6 goals for Switzerland, Gökhan Inler. 250 plus appearances for Udinese and Napoli. You expect him to be an absolute stalwart in this Leicester team and in this UEFA Champions League campaign. Valued at £10 million, he should really stamp his mark and authority on games they play in. Another one that plays in a similar role but slightly younger by 7 years is N'Golo Kante. Now he is the guy that I would recommend playing alongside Inler. He's an absolute beast and looks like he could be a real top player. Valued at 7.25 million, coming in from KN in the last transfer window, he could be a really good player for Leicester. Another that struggled in real life in the Leicester squad, probably due to the form of others, is Andrej Kramaric. Now, he came in for a big fee and he's valued at 8.5 million, having gotten 37 goals in 42 appearances for Rijeka at his last club. You expect him to do really well in real life, but he just hasn't lit the world up just yet. So hopefully in Football Manager he can live up to the expectation and do some damage alongside a couple of other key players in this Leicester squad. For me, he is the one player that could definitely play in a much higher standard Champions League club in real life. It's Riyad Mahrez, valued at £18 million. Now, he has set the world alight and the Premier League alight in this current season. He's a player with a lot of flair, a lot of direct pace and ability to take players on. He's really flamboyant, and one with a lot of flair can really damage opposing fullbacks. Riyad Mahrez, 16 caps for Algeria, yet to hit his prime. He could do some real damage in this experiment for Leicester. And finally, I was never going to miss out the former Halifax and Fleetwood man, Jamie Vardy. 28-year-old English international, valued at 22.5 million, currently wanted by Manchester City in this save. I don't know if that'll be him going or if he's going to stay and play in the Champions League for Leicester. Man City is a hard team to turn down if they come calling with their big cash and their big pay check to Leicester for him. Now, he's valued at 22.5 million, only on 30 grand a week. He probably would like to at least double that, but he's got some great attributes. His pace and finishing, as well as his composure, are really key to him getting a lot of goals. Hopefully, and I'd like to see him stay at Leicester City and help them in their Champions League campaign. So here is the base of the Leicester City squad. That will go into it at the start of the season. Now, other players that may do well along the way are Danny Simpson, Robert Huth, also Mark Albrighton, Danny Drinkwater, Nathan Dyer, and Leonardo Ulloa. They are players that could really help along. Now, the thing about this is, guys, we don't know if all these players are going to be sold, if they're going to be kept on, who they're going to bring in with that massive transfer budget that they have, and how much of it Claudio Ranieri will spend on bringing in world-class players. Can they attract them? Who knows? We will find out soon enough. So even though that Leicester City have had a great season so far in this season, of course that doesn't affect Football Manager when it came out initially. They are predicted to finish 15th by the media in the Barclays Premier Division, even though they are going to play in the Champions League. The estimated value of the club is 342 million. We have boosted the average ticket price from £35 to £45 and boosted the average season ticket price from £500 to £600, I believe I done, and boosted the season ticket holders from 23,000 to 25,000. Now this really goes with hand in hand them being in the Champions League, because I believe everything would increase at the club. Now, I did say we pumped 100 million into the transfer budget and 150 million into the transfer balance. Sorry, the club balance. So we'll see how that works out and see if they spend it wisely. Now, they do play at the King Power Stadium, which is a 2,312 all-seater stadium, which is very good. I did not touch any facilities. They have a 10-year sponsorship at £300,000 per week for the stadium, and I did not touch anything else regarding their facilities. So with Wes Morgan the captain, the vice-captain being Kasper Schmeichel, and the key player being Jamie Vardy, Claudio Ranieri, can he be the first manager to win Leicester City their first domestic Premier League title, or their first ever European title? I highly doubt it. And can they exceed the 15th place position the media expect them to finish in? So we're going to take a keen interest in this. We're going to check the transfers at the end of the August transfer window, then the January transfer window, and we're also going to check out how they got on and who they got in their UEFA Champions League group. And who knows where they're going to finish. If they finish third, that means they will go on to play in the Europa League, which might be a little bit easier for them. But who knows, we'll find out who they bring in, and if Leicester City can upset the odds and do quite well in the UEFA Champions League in their first attempt. Okay guys, it's September the 1st and we're back. We're going to show you the Champions League draw and who Leicester have been drawn against. They have made one and one only transfer purchase brought into the club. It's a pretty big signing for a pretty hefty fee for a club like Leicester. They did not let anyone go, but let's see who that player is they brought in to help them out in their Champions League campaign. So here he is for £13.25 million on £41,500 per week on a contract that will last 4 years. The Englishman, the 3-cap English international, Callum Chambers, has come in for £13.25 million from Leicester. Now he's a top, solid player that can play left back, central defender pretty well, right back naturally, right wing back, right midfield, defensive midfield or centre midfield if necessary. He's 20 years old, you all know him very well. Of course, he played 22 games for Southampton. He's played around 30 games in total for Arsenal, and he's now moved on to Leicester City. He's got solid technical stats, pretty good mental stats, excellent physical stats. A player that they probably did need in terms of playing central defender more, I'd imagine, instead of right back, unless Danny Simpson isn't going to be playing. But he's a player that really does fit the criteria to play for them in the big competition. So, that is the one signing that Leicester made with their massive money in their bank budget. So let's have a look now and see who they got in their Champions League group, and they haven't played a game yet, but it's a very interesting draw. So here we have it guys, the UEFA Champions League draw has been made and Leicester are in Group G as the 4th seed. They've been drawn against the almighty German giants of Bayern Munich, which will be an absolute crunch match, and they could get absolutely squashed in that. They've come up against Gary Neville and his Valencia team from Spain, and of course, where Esteban Cambiaso left Leicester to go to Olympiacos, they will come up against their old legend veteran player in the man Esteban Cambiaso at Olympiacos. So it's a very interesting group. A group where, to be honest, if you are controlling this Leicester City side yourself, you're thinking you could maybe sneak second. You're probably thinking you're definitely going to get third. If you finish bottom behind Olympiacos and Valencia, you're pretty disappointed. Valencia, not the side they used to be. Of course, sold a lot of players over the years for big money and not brought in the quality that they once had. Olympiacos, you probably should be finishing above them, but we will see very shortly. So what we're going to do now, guys, is skip to the end of the January transfer window, see if Leicester have brought in any more players or sold any with the big money that they have, and check on Champions League results there and at that point, and see where they are, what the results have been after this schedule that sees them start off away to Leicester, at home to Olympiacos, and then away to Bayern Munich. We will check out the results and see how they get on at that point at the end of January. Okay guys, so it's the 1st of February and the January transfer window has closed. But first we're going to look at the league table. Now Leicester City are predicted to finish 15th in the table, whilst of course being in the Champions League. So on February the 1st, they currently sit 14th, 23 games played, 7 wins, 5 draws, 11 losses, 34 goals scored, 40 conceded, and they've been on a bit of a decent run, winning 4 of their last 5 matches with 1 loss in there. Now, they have been a little bit busy in this transfer window. As you know, in the first transfer window in August, they signed Callum Chambers. This time, they have boosted their purchase players and they've spent quite a bit of money. They've also sold a few players. So let's have a look at the transfers done in January before we crack on and have a look at what's going on in the UEFA Champions League. So the second signing of the season by Claudio Ranieri for 1.9 million, signed from Molde, a Norwegian international, aged 21, is Mohamed El Yunusi, now valued at 4.9 million. He's a winger, plays on the left, can't play anywhere across the attacking midfield role or in the striker position. He looks really, really good. Apart from his natural fitness, he looks good in pretty much all aspects of his game. He hasn't yet played for Leicester, but he looks a fine player and acquisition to the club. Signing number 3 for Leicester is £27 million signing James Ward-Prowse, who now dons the number 7 and blue of Leicester City. 21 years old, 5 caps for England. Of course, coming in from Leicester City, now valued at £30 million, earning £69,000 per week. Very versatile and can play in 9 positions across the park, but naturally in the centre of midfield. He has played 2 games for Leicester City so far and got 1 goal out of those 2 games. A real blockbuster signing for the club. The 4th and final signing, coming in for £18 million from West Brom, is the 22-year-old bit of a huff and puff striker, Saido Berahino. He needs to play. He thinks he's bigger and better than he is, but he's joined Leicester City. He's also played 2 games for Leicester and got 1 goal. In his time at West Brom, he got 24 goals in 91 appearances, which is not too bad, but could be better looking at those attributes. He's valued £24 million, a key player for Leicester, earning £57,000 per week. Those attributes are top notch, and he surely will go on to become an England international in this and in the future saves on anyone's Football Manager 2016 game. So there you have it, £16.15 million spent on 4 big signings for Leicester City. Callum Chambers, James Ward-Prowse and Saido Berahino, an English core there, and 1 Norwegian in Mohamed El Younousi. Going out, Leonardo Eloja to Bournemouth for £1.6 million, Dean Hammond to Bolton for a small fee, Ben Hamer for £500,000 to Nottingham Forest, and N'Golo Kante to Aston Villa, which says to me he didn't quite settle in the club. Well, guys, as you know, Callum Chambers was the only signing in the August window. Therefore, they started the Champions League campaign with just him being brought in. And it looks like the 3 signings in January were a little bit too late for the Foxes. In their UEFA Champions League Group G, they finished 4th, only picking up 1 point. 0 wins out of 6, 1 draw, 5 losses, scoring only 4 goals. Of course, the least in the 4 clubs in this group, and conceded 11, which is the most in the group, with a -7 goal difference. It's a real shame, but the dream for Leicester City has stopped. They do not even make the UEFA Europa League. But let's have a look down the scores and see how they got on in them. They kicked off away to Valencia, where they lost 3-1. Feghouli, Negredo and Piatto getting goals for Valencia. Jamie Vardy getting 1 on the 28th minute for Leicester. The next match, which is probably the most disappointing match of the UEFA Champions League campaign, Brown today getting a double late on for Olympiacos, Vardy getting a goal early on, but Wes Morgan, the captain, getting sent off after 20 minutes didn't help. In the next match was a brave fight at the Allianz Arena, where they went 1-0 down due to Robert Lewandowski. They pulled it back through Mahrez, 1-1 at half-time, but on the 57th minute, Douglas Costa put them ahead. A big, brave fight against the Bavarian Giants. The 11 played Bayern again at home, where in the second half they held out to the 62nd minute, where Douglas Costa scored again, and Josh Kimmich wrapping up the victory in the 85th minute. They then played Valencia at home, Vardy getting on the score sheet again, but 1 minute after Rodrigo had put Valencia ahead, and that is a game that they should have looked to try and win. They finished the campaign with another defeat, this time away to Olympiacos, Fortounis scoring on the 12th minute for them, and that was a bit of a disaster. So the only real point coming for them was, of course, against Valencia in a 1-1 draw. A poor campaign. We will see them to the end of the season and see if they can sustain their status in the Premier League and see who got on best out of the squad. It's a little bit disappointing that they never quite done it in the Champions League, but we didn't really expect them to, even with that £150 million pumped into the club. I did want to see them go into the Europa League so we could have continued and seen how they got on, but it wasn't to be. So we will go forward, check their Premier League status and check who got on the best in the season for the club. So here we are at the end of the season. Now, as you know, 15th place was the media prediction for Leicester, but Claudio Ranieri's guided them to a 12th place finish with some fine last form of the season. 3 wins and 2 draws in the last 5 matches, 12 wins in total, 10 draws, 16 losses, 56 goals scored, 63 conceded, and 46 points on the board. Quite comfortably ahead of the relegation zone, which seen West Brom, Norwich and Sunderland go down. Manchester United champions, City, Arsenal and Spurs making up the top 4, Liverpool making up 5th place, Chelsea and Everton 6th and 7th. So no European football for Leicester next season, even though they have all that money in the bank. This could see them lose star players such as Mahrez and Vardy. They got knocked out of the FA Cup and Capital One Cup respectively by Crystal Palace and Burnley. Let's have a look at the players and see who were the standouts of the season. So with his value dropping at around 7 million, Jamie Vardy still topped the goal scoring charts for Leicester with 19 goals. He's currently wanted by Chelsea and Manchester City. No assists in 41 surprisingly, and only 7 key passes. Next up in terms of goals, Shinji Osaka got 13, Berahino got 5, Kramaric got 5, El Yunusi got 3, Drinkwater got 3, and 2 goals for Chambers, Mahrez, Inler, and 1 apiece for Ward-Prowse, Albrighton, Delat, and Morgan. In terms of assists, Fuchs got 9, Mahrez got 8, expected more from him. Mahrez is now valued at 23 million, Inler got 6, Chambers got 5, Ward-Prowse got 5, 4 for Drinkwater, 3 for Osaka, and 2 for Berahino, El Yunusi and Robert Huth. Key passes, we won't show you all of these, but Ryan Mahrez got 30, Inler got 26 and Drinkwater got 20. In terms of average rating for the season, only 2 players had above 7.37, which is very impressive for the big blockbuster signing that was James Ward-Prowse. Chambers got 7.02. Disappointing averages, probably Vardy only 6.91, 6.78 for Kasper Schmeichel. So there we have it, guys. That is the experiment wrapped up. Ranieri still in charge, Morgan still captain, Schmeichel still vice captain, but the key player now for Leicester is Saido Berahino. They're no longer in Europe next season. They are rich financially with a lot of money in the bank. They did not manage to cut it in the Champions League, suffering major defeat and only picking up 1 point against Bayern Munich, Valencia and Olympiacos. They did not even make the Europa League, but did beat expectations and finished 12th in the Premier League. So their status is secured in the top level in England for another season. That just about wraps up this experiment, guys. Thanks for checking it out. It's quite a long one, I understand, but it's been a good bit of fun. Thanks for checking out the Whiz Kids. Please make sure you drop the video a like if you're enjoying it. And if you enjoy any other of our content when you're passing by, do not forget to hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for checking it out, and I'll see you guys very soon.